Hi Newfield artists! So Ollie knew that I was going to be making some cupcakes. However, they're not real cupcakes today. They are for another supplies for our art project today, which will be another Mother's Day card or gift. And I've used a nice variety of different supplies here, and I worked in some collage with cut paper. I used crayons, markers, and some candy wrappers and different colored paper to add some sprinkles and fun on here. So I'm going to show you how. So I have a long rectangular piece of paper here. Any color will do, and if it's not as long as this, that is fine. But the first thing you're going to do is fold it in half. And then the open part here, you're going to take the top layer and fold it over. Really press it down, and then you're flipping the whole thing over and doing that again so that end piece gets folded over to the other side, just like that. So from here, I'm just going to take this M shape and just flip it over, and I'm just going to lay it down flat. And all right, so I have two pieces of just scrap paper here, and I'm going to be making my stencils from these, and that's a good idea because we're going to have the same two shapes repeating 4 times. So either if you're going to draw directly on your paper, or if you're going to use other paper and cut out shapes and glue them, either way it's a good idea to have a stencil. So we're going to need 2 shapes. The first shape is going to look sort of like a trapezoid, and this is going to be the bottom of the cupcake. So I'm starting with a straight line, and then I'm going out with 2 diagonal lines that go out to the side on each side, and then I'm just going to close that shape with a straight line across the top. So something like this, and I hope you can see it well enough, just like that. And really, it's the bottom of the cupcake, so it'll really look like that, but I'm doing it upside down for you. And the other shape is going to be the top of the cupcake, which of course we'll be decorating and adding stuff to, but it's gonna sort of look like, almost like a cloud, I would say. Curvy lines, wavy, something like this. So it doesn't have to look exactly like mine, of course, but these are the general shapes of what you are making. So we have the bottom of the cupcake and then the frosting for the top of the cupcake. And really, we have here an example of a geometric shape with some nice sharp edges here. We can recognize what that is. And here we have an organic shape, which is kind of flowy. We have some curvy lines. It's a little bit more irregular. This is actually symmetrical, and this is asymmetrical because it's a little wobbly and wavy. So those are what you're going for. Okay, now I'm going to cut my 2 shapes out. So now I have my 2 shapes, my stencils cut out, and I just want to make sure they're the right size. So each of these squares where the folds are have these squares in between, and each is going to be a different cupcake. But I do want to make sure that I'm going to have some room at the top for my writing. And actually this looks pretty good right here. So I am good with this, and if it's a little too big and yours you're noticing you want to trim it down a little bit, just go ahead and do that. But I am going to trace first the bottom, that trapezoid shape, my geometric shape for the bottom of the cupcake, and then I'm going to take this organic shape, this curvy flowy shape for that delicious frosting. I'm going to put it right on the top, and I'm going to trace that down. Just like that. And now I notice I am not really going to see the top of that bottom part because the frosting is now covering it really. So I'm just going to erase that. I don't need it there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw out another one just like this. I think I'll do it in this 3rd box. And then the other 2 boxes, I'm going to work with some cut paper and gluing that down. Okay, so I just went over so that we could all see a little better and have a nice outline with some Sharpie on those two that I'm drawing in. And then I'm going to use my stencils again, but this time I'm going to use some colored paper that I have here. So I have this nice tan paper, light brown, to do the bottoms of the cupcakes, and then I have a couple of nice bright colors to do the frosting. So since I know I'm going to have two cupcake bottoms that are going to look the same with this paper, I'm just going to fold this in half. So instead of doing this twice, I only have to trace and cut once. So I'm saving a little bit of time. And I'm just going to go ahead and write my words, and I'm writing for the sweetest mom. And I'm just going to glue down my pieces that I cut out to those two squares. That's how you can tell Ollie is here. It's his tail. Okay, so I have colored in and filled in with my crayons and colored pencils. I've got some nice texture happening in there to show the icing and the paper on the bottom there with the cake. So now I'm just going to use actually some markers, and I'm going to outline the letters that I have up top to really make them pop. So the last thing our cupcakes need is some sprinkles, and I have some colored paper here, which you can really just keep them all together and cut some little shapes. So maybe some small little triangles. So a really easy way to cut your own little sprinkles is just take a little scrap paper and just fold it up pretty small, and just carefully take your scissors and really just keep cutting off the corners. Little points. Keep your fingers out of the way. The thing that I have here, of course, is some chocolate candy wrappers, which is really just like a light aluminum foil. And you can use these also, if you break them apart, you can use these as sort of like little sprinkles for your cupcakes. And maybe even you have something maybe left over from an Easter basket or something like that. And these can also be used for sprinkles if you just cut them into small little shapes like triangles or squares, rectangles. So we used geometric and organic shapes. We worked in some collage. We used a variety of different materials here. We also worked with some repetition. So we repeated the same shape 4 times, just adding a little bit of a different texture and color. And all of those things are done in a really nice Mother's Day card. So I hope you have fun with this. Please take pictures and show us your creations. We'd love to see them. Happy Mother's Day. Love you, Mom.